Morning. Hello. How's it going? Sorry I missed yesterday, but we're back on a beautiful Friday. Working on our auto tiling here. Like right before going live, I like scratched my face. I'm like, ow, why did I do that? Well, so we have something I made that's kind of a monstrosity. It's this. This is a list of all the different possible outline combinations. And yeah. It's honestly making me rethink outlines. Like using outlines. Because what it means, if we do this, then we need basically one of those. I mean, we can just copy and paste it. But we need one of those 6 times. Once for each of these different tile surface combinations. Apologies. I don't know why I get allergic as soon as I start streaming. I'll be like fine all morning, and then I turn the camera on, and I'm just like, I have to sneeze. This has to happen. So I'm kind of thinking about outlines and whether we love outlines. I mean, there's some cases where like outlines are like pretty useful. Like doing this without outlines would look really stupid, I think. Like if we just got rid of these outlines. Now there's no ambiguity between the faces. And like you could do it, you could fix it a little bit by maybe like making one side darker than the other side. But I think we'd need to do that with lighting. And I'm not gonna lie, I am pretty skeptical of Godot's 2D lighting. Like I played around with it, and it seems fine for top-down. I'm like really skeptical of it for input, or not for isometric, for anything sort of isometric. like this. I mean, I guess it could work. It'll look weird because the lights are... I guess you could make the lighting hard. Have it be 2D. Like, have it be, like, you don't necessarily need soft lighting. We could have hard shadows. You could also use directional light for the outside of the ship. So we might end up doing something like normal map. Do something with lighting and normal mapping. The only thing about that then is we'd have to be able to place the shadows. Or place the lights, obviously, is what I mean. I'm kind of skeptical of using the occluder in an isometric situation. There's also this, using additive sprites is a faster alternative to 2D lights. This could be the thing. Like, additive sprites would be a much easier way to do shadows for our little characters. Because our little characters are too small to have occluders. But if you look at this, we really don't have a lot of outlining here. There's a little bit around the edges of this upper area, but I argue that it's like doesn't contribute very much. The only outlines that really seem to contribute something are like the door outlines. Those actually do seem to be meaningful and interesting. But yeah, looking at this monstrosity of, and these, not even all of these aren't all possible. Like, these aren't all going to occur in, like, naturally. Like, these won't occur naturally. Because, you know, some of this makes no sense. Like, if we grab this. If we grab this and, like, we look at these ones that have different left and right faces, they will never cause... You'll never reach something like this where there's a blended face in the middle. Like, it's impossible. And this is I mean, this is obviously bigger than that, but if we just took the actual wall tiles and stuff, put them in an atlas, it would be 5 by 12, or 512 by 512. Just for the outline variations. 512 pixel texture. Whereas if we can get it to just really matter what these are, then it's a lot easier. But again, then we have the question of how we would light these. I don't know. I'm kind of grappling with it. This is the kind of decision we need to make early. I don't love outlines. I mean, it works because we have a flat, lightless art style right now. And that's the kind of style that you would want to outline. But like I said here, when we actually draw this stuff all up, we actually don't really use outlines because there's not enough resolution. There's not enough space in the image to have an outline. I don't know. Oh god, what did I do? I just hit back and I turned this grayscale. Close that without saving. That just does that? I'm just hitting back on my mouse and I'm making this grayscale. That's kind of cool. But going forward doesn't undo it, which is unfortunate. Let's grab a door. Mess around with the doors for a minute. We might have this discussion a few times as people come in. I kind of want some opinions. I mean, one alternative would be to do these outlines as one single, like just do the outlines as a sprite sheet and then overlay the appropriate outline. And that way there's at least just one of these textures instead of like one for every type of tile. In which case I'm not as concerned about it, but that does mean we'd be drawing twice as many tiles. Like we need additional tile maps now that were just like shadows of the other tile maps. Which is not impossible, but we're trying to have as few tiles as possible because we might need to change them in a single frame. Like if the camera angle changes. Oh, that's gonna be so insane. I'm just thinking about how to handle lighting in situations like that. This is one of those cases where maybe it would have been better if we went 3D. Maybe it would have been better to go 3D for a lot of this. So I'm just gonna draw this. You have like a bunch of frames. Yeah, you're the dynamic version. I want the static version. Door static? Do you still exist? No, you don't. Okay, that's fine. We'll just take door dynamic. Take this. Make a new file. Oh, oops. Makes more sense. Part of the reason I went with the 2D art style is I think it's unique. It's interesting and unique, whereas if I did this as down-res 3D, it would get really muddy. And I really wouldn't have the ability to do any of the art myself. So let's take this and let's draw it again, and let's just get rid of the outline and see what we think. I think I'm gonna hate it, is my instinct on this. Yeah, like situations like this, where you basically got an unbroken... This is where lighting would need to come into play. Like, really handle this. We need to move this over. And some of the overlapping that happens on the top and the bottom is kind of a problem as well. So yeah, I hate this. It's like shit. Kind of need the outlines. So I guess we're just going to live with the outlines for now. Like, I guess I don't hate it, but it's very flat. I don't like truly. It's probably hard to see on stream, but you can probably tell how flat it is. I guess we could be selective about our outlines. I don't know. I think we should push forward using the outline system that we have, even though it's going to be a lot of work to set up. We've got it figured out. It's going to be annoying, but I don't see a better alternative unless I'm able to get some lighting set up. And I think lighting would be a huge undertaking at this point. It might not pay off. Like, I might not be able to get it to work correctly. I did some prototyping around using light in this kind of environment. I did not get it to work the way I wanted to. Like, I did not get it to occlude the way I wanted to. I couldn't get, like, pixel perfect occlusion, which is what I wanted. I don't think Godot's light occluders can do anything resembling pixel perfect. Although, I mean, hard shadows at a low viewport resolution would kind of give us what we want. Kind of. Sort of. Additive sprites is not a terrible idea. It's pretty limited. But it would work. And it would let us light an area independently of... I don't know. Like, it would let us come up with lighting that respected the isometric stuff. That doesn't solve all our problems, though. So yeah, we're gonna stick with outlines. I think it's good for our style at the moment. But again, we might eventually find out that that's only because we're using a flat, like textureless, unlit style. Once we start adding lights and textures and stuff, we might change our mind. But that's okay. We can try to do this in such a way that we have flexibility. So now we actually have to start pulling this out then. I am kind of tempted to just do what I said about having just the outline. doing the outline as one layer. Apply it over these things. It would mean another wall and another floor tile layer. But it would be easier. And it would also then make it easier to move away from outlines at some point in the future. There might be some weird z-indexing stuff that happens. Should be fine. Like if two nodes share the same z-index, and they share the same Y position, then the one that renders on top of the other is the one that's lower in the tree, right? So we could just arrange our layers in the tree such that that was the case. Ooh, I don't like that. I don't love that. But it's that or have... It's like basically, let me see what the size difference would be here. What, each pixel is 4 bytes? The RGBA. There's 32 pixels in a tile wall. There's 16 of them on each side. So it's the choice between having 32 kilobytes of textures for a single, for the walls here, or having 5 megabytes. Between 32 kilobytes and 5 megabytes is pretty significant, but that's still negligible in terms of... Oh no, it's not 5 megabytes, it's 500 kilobytes. That's still pretty small, actually. But I also think the performance cost we're going to pay is not in storage. The performance cost we're going to pay is in trying to change twice as many tiles every frame. The other thing that's kind of disappointing about doing it this way is this makes it incredibly unfriendly to potentially like make more of these. Like, it's going to be really tedious because you basically have to, anytime you draw one of these tiles, you have to like copy it over 256 times. And not even, you have to like consider the ones without outlines. Yeah, I don't see a better way of doing this right now, so I guess we just go with it. So for the walls, I'll need a 2048 texture. It's one of those situations where we're going to do this because it's good enough for now. And if we end up redoing the art at some point and there seems to be a better way of doing it, we'll do it. We'll do it that way later. But it's too easy to get too far ahead of myself trying to think this through that far ahead. Okay, so let's copy these over. This is going to be tedious AF. What's the size of this sprite? 2800. Okay, so it's too big. An interesting thing about doing the outline as a separate layer, it would allow us to do some interesting modulate stuff, where we could modulate the color of just the outline. So if someone clicks on or if someone's like moused over a tile, we could, basically we'd record the outlines as white, and then normally we'd render them as black, but we could just render them as white if the tile is being selected. That would be an interesting way of letting people select specific wall tiles. I'm not sure about the performance of doubling the number of... By doubling, I mean adding, you know, doubling the number of floor and wall tiles. Might be worth considering, honestly. Instead of trying to set this up one for each of these 16 variations. How does the brightest one look if it's given a white outline? It would be an actually white outline, wouldn't it? Yeah. That's still readable? It looks readable. Because we want players to be able to select a wall tile. Because they may need to direct a crew member to work on that wall. Like there's a power conduit or something. The wall tiles are also going to be where the power conduits and stuff go. So working on walls will be pretty significant. That actually reads just fine. So yeah, let's do that. We're going to make one texture map that's just the outlines. It's just the outlines from this list. And then we'll apply those outlines over the textured wall tiles. Quote unquote textured. Flat texture. This is so insane. Alright, in that case, we can downsize this to just 512. I feel like I've apologized for boring streams a lot, but it's kind of what we're doing, I guess. We're laying the groundwork for some stuff. Just doing very unsexy infrastructure stuff. I should do some more lighting tests, is what I should do. And I should do it sooner than later. But if we do this outline system correctly, it should be easy to... And then we could still use it, actually. Whether we get the lighting system to work or not, we could still use this outlining system as an alternative to having to do outline shaders. Which, shaders for actual outlines works just fine. But these aren't really outlines, nor are they inlines. They're like just hard edges. Yeah, I should make normal map versions of the tiles. I mean, technically, I just need to make one single normal mapped cube. It applies to, like, all of them. I'm just very concerned about isometric occluders. I don't think they work, especially not at the pixel resolution that I'm operating at. I don't know. Additive tile lighting is also a good idea. I should mess around with that too. Because that could just be a scene that we move, or a thing that we move around on a tile map layer as well. Like you place a light and it's got additive sprite tile walls around it. That would maybe work. No, it wouldn't work, would it? It really wouldn't. Unless I were to bake it all, but the whole point of doing this is not to bake this stuff. Okay, we don't need to think about all of it all at once. You're co-working with me, so I enjoy the good vibes no matter what. Oh, I appreciate it too, nerds. Yeah, I'm trying not to get ahead of myself. We got all this busy work in front of me. I might as well just do the busy work. Not get too worried about how this might turn out or not. Hope the bug hunting is going well on the demo. I'm impressed you cut content from the demo. Nice, almost done. That's awesome. You saw the number of players not even making it to the end of the demo? Oh, yeah. Why do you think they're falling off? Because it's clearly not a content problem. I mean, I think it's hard to predict why people fall off of a demo. Like, demo metrics is like kind of an art form. And you'd need like a lot of analytics to know exactly what's going on. Possibly just not their kind of game. Yeah, that's true. Possible. I know there's a lot of information out there about like what you should look for. Like probably most of it's made by Chris Sikowski, but just as far as like what you should look for in terms of how long people are playing the demos, like what's considered success. I don't know any of that stuff yet. Try to get myself to verbalize my inner monologue when I'm streaming like this, even if I'm doing something really mindless, like this copy paste activity. But I find I very quickly get like very pessimistic about how I think this is gonna work out, and I need to like be like, oh, why am I doing this? I could do it. I could take it. It's all the stuff I was talking about earlier, where I was like, oh, do we want to just forget about outlines? Do we need to like work on lighting and stuff? But no, the answer is no. The answer is like the stuff you're always telling me, you know, just get the game loop. We have the makings of the autotile tool here pretty close to being done. And for our current art style, which is the flat, textureless, lightingless stuff, this is actually this outline system is actually the best thing we could have from a visual standpoint. If the art changes in the future, we'll revisit it. Yeah. And I keep repeating this almost more to convince myself than to convince anyone else. So I want to get this done because I want to be able to make some level designs. I just didn't want to do a bunch of level designing without an autotiler because it would have been like 90% of my time would have been spent on picking out the tiles. But once we get the level designs, then we have plenty of other stuff to do. We need to think about pathfinding, which there are some different ways we could do pathfinding. You may find in gameplay that some things you're planning need changing, including art. Very true. Very true. And it's one of those things where if I start working on the art, I stop working on the game. Like at least you and Celine can like parallel. You can work in parallel as far as someone's pushing forward the art and someone else is pushing forward the programming. For me, it's just a hard stop. If I'm working on the art, there is no programming getting done. So I got to be very clear cut when I switch tasks. So yeah, this is maybe not the best system. It's maybe not what we're going to need in the end, but it's what we need right now. And it's the simplest thing I could come up with. So it's what we're going to start with. I always take comfort in the Randy school of game development, which is you do the most caveman thing possible, you wait until that thing is no longer sufficient, and then you do something that's slightly less caveman. And that's game dev. I love doing this twice. I also have to do this for the floors. Fine, it's just 256 times. Twice. Assuming I'm not missing any of these. I've also got all the parts to a computer sitting behind me, which is pretty distracting. And by all, I mean everything minus one. So I'm kind of just waiting. Tomorrow is going to be a huge day where I pull apart my entire desk and pull out all of the wires and undo everything. Rearrange the whole thing, clean the area out. Reimagine what my next desk setup will look like. Probably have to make a trip down to the computer store to get some cables that need to be longer. Why do these look identical? Oh, they're not. Okay. Constantly concerned I'm copying over the same thing twice. All right, we're a quarter of the way there. We're just cruising. I wanted to do this. I meant to do this last night because I knew it was busy and busy work. But yeah, I was still working on this monstrosity last night. I mean, in a way, I feel kind of lucky that I managed to make this outline system just dependent on a single byte of information. Pretty cool. Or at least each outline setup can be communicated and referred to by a single byte. Good, because we need to store this information 4 times. Because there's 4 different outline possibilities with camera rotations considered. Camera rotations are really what's making me like hesitant as far as like doing complicated stuff with lighting. Actually, anything. Like I feel pretty good about changing the tile map 4 times. Like having the tile map regenerate itself using this information whenever there's a camera change, but I'm way more nervous about it getting the nodes and any potential lighting stuff to move, especially like an animated character that I now have to like rotate because it's a sprite. So it's gonna be interesting. It's actually probably not that hard. Thinking about it, I would just lay their sprite sheet out in a certain way so that I could jump to another part of the animated. Like lay it all out as a sprite sheet. And then if they're in the middle of an animation, we just jump to that same point in the animation, but from a different perspective. It shouldn't be that bad. It shouldn't be that bad for animating characters. But yeah, for lighting, I don't know. We'll see. I'm not convinced that we won't end up just baking all the lighting into the sprites. Some way. We could do some masking stuff like they were saying with additive sprites. Like I can imagine projecting the little walking characters' shadows onto the wall using just like a black outline version of them that's like semi-transparent. And that would be relatively easy. It wouldn't be that easy, but it would be relatively easy. We'll see. It's got to do this stuff in a way that's modular and expandable. And then there's no problem changing in the future. Also excited to lose a whole bunch of time on some new games once I've got this new computer built this weekend. I think first I'm going to play Baldur's Gate 3. So I've really been wanting to play that. But my laptop has struggled. My laptop's good, but it's a laptop, so it's like not super comfortable playing like really intense games for like many hours on it. I'm excited to have a brand new desktop, render some of these high-end games that I've been kind of keeping myself from playing. It's definitely going to impact my productivity though, which is too bad. Really hope I don't do the same row twice at some point. That would be tragic. Wonder if I have any coffee left. I'm gonna check after this line. Bernardo, are you aiming for the October Next Fest? And you've got the demo. But I don't know what your timeline's like. Because I know you can only do the one. You can only do one Next Fest. All right, we're halfway there. Oof. What time is it? 9? Okay, cool. This is probably all we're going to do today. Lay out these texture maps. Well, that's okay. We'll be in a good place for next week. Which next week is going to be normal. We're going to stream. Oh, God. We're going to try to stream a lot more regularly next week. Go back to our regular 5 days a week. Monday through Friday. It just was not easy to do. I should probably save this now that I'm halfway through it. Get atlas. Boards. Outline. At. Save this once in here. Oh. Oh my god. Okay, I never did this part. I could have sworn I did. Oh, I did it here, but not here? Okay. Oh, this is why we check. This is why we check stuff. Oh my god. Okay. I like skipped a huge amount of work right here. And by huge, I mean like probably 10 minutes. I just forgot I didn't do the outlines correctly. Which is why we keep this reference material, so we actually know what correctly means. Hey, Cubus. How's it going? Thanks for hanging. Thanks for stopping by here. Happy Friday. We're doing some pretty tedious stuff, but we're finishing up our texture atlas stuff. We've almost got the texture atlases we need to implement our auto tiling. Long day, session validation is messing you up. Oof. Feel that. Yesterday I made a special trip to the office and I spent the whole day just going over paperwork. I ended up with a stack of paperwork that, I shit you not, was like the length of like my elbow to my wrist. Like, that was the size of the paperwork stack that I had by the end of it. So I'm like also kind of just dead today. But it's Friday, so we made it. Yeah, I almost never have to do something like that, but someone needed to do it. Yeah, good thing you don't deal with paper. Yeah, it's kind of incredible to me. Like, at first I was kind of mad at, like, my predecessors who'd left me all that paperwork. And then I realized that, like, a lot of this stuff, a lot of the paper in there was, like, 11, 12, 14 years old. And it's like, they couldn't just do everything in, like, the cloud. They, like, actually had paperwork. And I'm like, wow, this is incredible. But not anymore. I was able to get rid of most of it. And the rest of it I'm digitizing. Yeah, relic from ancient times. Truly. Luckily you don't need to keep that stuff around forever. I almost copied over this whole chunk of tiles without updating it. So we're doing that right now. But we're about halfway through packing our texture atlas for the walls. we ended up with a disgusting amount of tile outline combinations, many of which are unreachable in certain situations, but this is what we ended up with, Cubus. Isn't that incredible? 256 tiles. We were talking about it Wednesday, and I was like, I think there are 64 tiles. There were not 64 tiles. There were 256 tiles. And I did them all. And my thought, yes, they are all unique. Because each one represents a unique combination of these 8 neighbors. So it's kind of lucky that they're each like 1 byte represents this state. So we can put all of this information pretty tightly packed. But yeah, it's something. So what I'm doing now is I'm packing these all up, and what we're actually going to do is, instead of having, because we have this many like tile types as well, so instead of making one of those atlases per each of these types, I'm tempted to just make one of them and then pull out everything else except the outline. Just have the outline itself and lay the outline over. I'm tempted is how I'd say that. Although, I don't know. I might end up just doing it, because this is useful. Because basically the outline just tells you whether a space is continuous or not. And if we do more texturing with these, knowing where the edges of a shape is and where it isn't, we'd be able to make longer shapes. Like, we'd be able to draw something that was like 3 tiles wide, because we could know that, like, oh, here's the left end of it, here's a middle chunk, and then here's like the right edge of it. I don't see one that has a right edge outline. So it would work. So I don't know. I'm kind of torn on how I want to do that. Yeah, you have 2 states for 8 things, right? So yeah. Yeah, it's a lot. Pretty large space. I was talking about it earlier. I'm like not sure in the long term how much we want to lean on outlines. But the alternative would require a ton of work, and it would also require figuring out how to make lighting play nicely with isometric, which it does not. Lighting in 2D isometric is not easy. And how do you filter what can be reached? Well, it depends, is the unfortunate thing. So, like, if you look at this one, this one is what I would call the interior tile. This is the tile that is, like, fully entombed and is blocked off by tiles on all sides of it. This one, because of that, because its side faces are identical, can reach every single one of these. I have a better version. It can reach every single one of these. Yeah, that's what perhaps you split the outline from the solid object. That's what I'm considering. That's what I'm considering. But it would be complicated as well. So yeah, so like this one that has where like it has a light right side but a dark left side. This one would never reach something like this. It would never reach these where they're like the same tile on each side. But that's okay. It's not a huge amount of space. Yeah, would that bring you back to 64 if you split that? Yeah, it might. The thing is, I'd have to think about that, because then we'd have the outlines. But the problem is, the outlines are also just a stand-in for, like I was saying, about continuous spaces. So, like, if you know that, like, this shape is open on the right side, and if you get another one that's open on the left side, like this one's open on the left side, then you could paint this a certain way, and then you would know that the right side one and the left side one could connect together, and you could make a larger shape. Like you could have panels that stretch across it, or a pattern that continues. Same thing, this one's in the middle, because you can see there's an occupied tile here and an occupied tile here. So this is the middle of a 3-piece set. So you could have this one. So you could do some interesting pattern work. But if these are just outlines, then we need to recreate that structure somewhere else. And so we need to pick. So it would be a little bit of a duplication of effort to do it that way. Whereas I looked at it, and the difference in terms of storage size from having one of these versus having 16 of them is only like, it's the difference between like 32 kilobytes and like 500 kilobytes. It's like not a huge, considering it's all low-res pixel art, it's not like a huge amount of storage, so I don't know. Okay, now I've lost my place. Here we go. We were around here somewhere. We do this whole layer, this whole row. Okay, we didn't do this. Where did we stop? Here, we stopped here. Okay. Gotta erase these outlines. You see, yeah, storage size is not the issue. Asset creation is the issue. You're correct. And which is a shame, because part of the reason I was setting this up the way I was is I wanted asset creation to be relatively easy and straightforward. And this is the opposite of relatively easy and straightforward. I could conceivably make some tools that allow you to draw this once or a few times, and it will build the atlas for you. So we could smooth that asset creation step out. The other thing about having a just outline layer is we would need to then have twice as many tile maps. Because you'd have a wall tile map and a floor tile map, and then you'd have a wall outline tile map and a wall and a floor outline tile map. And the problem is we need to be able to regenerate those tile maps very quickly for things like camera rotation. So I'm hesitant doubling the number of tiles that we need to update. So for now, I might end up just making the 16 512 by 512 texture atlases, even though they're kind of inefficient. Because this is all stand-in, because that's also something I was discussing earlier, is like this outline system we're using only really looks good because our art style is flat. It has no texture and it has no lighting. So the outlines give it a lot of character. But if we move away from that, like as the art gets more complicated and gets more fleshed out, we might be able to just forget about the outlines in most cases. Like there might be some amount of outlining that we use, but if we made normal maps and we had some degree of lighting, even if we just split these tiles up into 3 parts and drew them and lit them separately, like with like pseudo lighting instead of actual lighting. I don't know. There's definitely some experiments we need to do in terms of visual style, but we're going to just do it this way because it's easy. It works for our current art style, and it lets us move on to some more important things I kind of want to do. Kind of want to move on to like pathfinding and getting creatures moving around, because whether we have outlines or not and how we're drawing the tiles doesn't really matter. The Pathfinder or any kind of locomotion system. So yeah, I think it's okay for asset creation to be inefficient right now, but it's definitely something we want to address in the future. Yeah, so many of these outline combinations are unreachable or nonsensical. And like I just have to be okay with it right now. Because at least they're complete. Maybe we can come up with a test in the future that analyzes which of these are unreachable. Because it's one of those things where, like, some of them are unreachable in terms of, like, a finished product. Like, you'll never see this kind of tile on, like, an actual spaceship that has, like, that's formed correctly. That's well formed, you know? Because it would be weird. But you might see it in the ship editor. Because the ship in the ship editor is under construction. So you might... And we want the ship editor to, like, be very responsive and to show what stuff looks like, so... As you're drawing it. So... You might see some of this stuff in that situation that you would never see on a finished ship. So it's weird. It's weird. But, you know, weird is okay. Definitely a lot of stuff to think about. But I'm okay letting this stuff kind of percolate in the back of our brain. Like we don't have to tackle this right now. I say it repeatedly, trying to convince myself. I know I don't have to convince you. So let's not worry about that right now. But I gotta convince myself quite often. All right, one more row. One more row, and then we're done with this. We can get back to copying and pasting. We can get back to the exciting work. Oh. It's fine. We're going to do this. We're going to get our autotiler up, and people are going to be blown away. They're going to be like, wow. You just draw out shapes, and the game, like, knows where there are interior rooms and exterior rooms, and, like the game just knows what the thing is. I'll be like, yep. Very unexciting to work on, but the result is going to be very cool. And then we get to move on to pathfinding, which I mentioned earlier, but I'm still thinking about how we want to do it because they're no longer the same tile maps. They're all like a tile map layer per layer and then multiple tile map layers per deck. I don't know how we want to do it. We can approach it a number of ways. We could do A-Star Grid 2D. We could have multiple A-Star Grid 2Ds that somehow talk to each other and hand things off between them, which is confusing. That wouldn't be that bad. It would be a little rough. So I don't think we can do that. We can use A-star 3D. But the problem with A-star 3D is that it's keyed to vector 3s. Like floating point vector 3s, which I don't love. And you have to build the grid and all this stuff. I kind of want to... Now here's a terrible inefficient use of time. I kind of want to make a fork of A-star grid 2D called A-star grid 3D. And just extend the A-star grid into multiple dimensions. But the problem is that would involve like going into the source code and like making a GD extension. Something like that. Which I'm not very good at, but that is something I want to learn. So it's one of those things where it's like we could spend a lot of time working on that. And get something kind of cool out of it. Cubist, you're just like, yeah. Let's waste some time on a GD extension. Or you could be saying yeah, like amped up, or you could be saying yeah, like you should rethink that. I'm choosing that you're hyping. I choose to believe that you're hyping me up, and not trying to get me to rethink it. But you realistically, you're probably telling me to like rethink it. I have a feeling you were like, yeah, maybe don't worry about that right now. But I don't know. Any kind of hacky solution using multiple A-star grid 2Ds was going to be really fucking weird. But also, on the other hand, there's probably a reason there isn't an A-star grid 3D, right? There's probably a reason no one's made one yet. I mean, I should probably just use A-star 3D and then just deal with the constant casting up and down from a integer to vector 3, from a vector 3 to vector 3i. That'd be the smart thing to do. Or could add some little things to A-star grid 3D that allow me. I could just add some helper functions that handle the casting for me. That would probably be the easiest thing to do. Probably what we should do. Let's just use A-star 3D and deal with the constant like rounding or truncation or whatever. Okay. All right, we fixed the issue here. We saved it. Now we need to go back down and start copying the rest of these over. I'm like skeptical we have time to do all of this. I'm just saying, I think it'd be pretty easy to turn A-Star Grid 2D into the 3D version of itself. Swap out some Rect 2Is with some AABBs. Add a Z parameter to a bunch of functions. I don't know. Seems pretty easy. Sure, it's very much not. I don't know, maybe it is. Save us a lot of work. You know, doing work to save work is you know, what programmers do. I spent 10 hours figuring out how to automate this 5-minute task. What we live for. But at least it was fun, yeah. I did it for the lulz. Alright, we're cooking here. We're just moving along. Ignore the fact that we need to do this all over again for the floors. W for the magic wand selection. How is W going to help me with this? Like there? You want me to like W this whole thing? This seems not as good. I think square is what we want. Unless there's a better version of a... Because we can just get rid of the filler using we can just get rid of everything using the paint bucket tool. We can just paint bucket the stuff on the outside with that transparent paint. You could also delete all the color except for black and gray, then use the sprite sheet export again. Oh, you're killing me. That's such a good idea, probably. Trim cells should do the magic of removing all the blank space. That sounds pretty cool. And it probably wouldn't mix them up or anything. It would probably just give me exactly what I want. You can try that. Sunk cost fallacy. Yeah. I sunk the cost. Alright, let's see. Paint tool. Paint bucket tool. Be transparent. Turn off continuous. Oh, does that not work? Can I not use the paint bucket tool like that? Is that not how the paint bucket tool works? Can I not paint empty? Oh, rip. Well, that kind of that makes it tough. Maybe I have a selection somewhere. Doesn't look like it, but maybe I do. Okay, let's make sure I don't have a selection. Got our transparency. I'm on my paint bucket tool. Got continuous turned off. Maybe opacity 0. No. Yeah, I definitely don't have a selection. It hangs up like it's doing something. And then the result is nothing. Yeah, it takes a second to calculate what it's doing, and then it just gives up. Well, that's weird. That was a good idea. I don't know why it's not working. Is that to mask in the color picker? Ah, okay. Still nothing. There's something wrong. Super weird. Oh well. Back to the sunk cost fallacy. Where the fuck did I leave off? I don't want to save this. It thinks we did something. It thinks we did a whole bunch of paint bucket tooling. But the effect was nil, so... Everything seems fine. Yeah, let's figure out where the fuck we stopped. 7 in from second one down here, over here. I know where we are. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so we're on this one. Well, that's unfortunate. That seems like that would have been pretty good. Pretty awesome. Make sure that the last one matches. So that one, that one, that one. Should be missing all those. That one, that one, that one, and that one. Yep, okay. We're in the right spot. So importing the current sprite sheet as sheet should get you everything as frames, and you can crop the sprite and export as sprite sheet again. Many ways to kill this one. Those all sound very creative. I'd have to crop the sprite 256 times, which... not happy. But it would give us the floors for free if we could pull this off. So yeah, I guess let's try it. If I remember your process right, I import it. And now I've got it like this, so I need to move this to the bottom so I can see it. Can I affect all of these simultaneously somehow? Why is there only 56 frames? Does it think there are only 56 unique frames here? 57? The fuck? Oh no, it's just, oh, are they totally out of, oh, it loops over after 99. That makes sense. Oh, crop the whole image. Interesting. Like, just... Where does it let me do that? Oh, canvas size. Okay, okay. That crop image was something else. So we need to 32 by 32. We need to move this a little bit like this. That doesn't help us with this area outside. So we might still need to deal with that. Okay, cool. Yeah, but that's fine. That's less work. So we'll export it again. Man, you already taught me how to do this, and you're like, why aren't you doing this? Yeah, let's hope that I can bucket the rest away. It was kind of weird how the bucket wasn't working. Walls. Don't save that. See what we got over here. Nice. Now I should be able to... Yeah, that's just not... The paint tool is just straight up not working for me here, which is pretty frustrating. I guess I can do something like... Just do that a bunch of times. Do that a couple hundred times. Weird. Okay, let's do the floors. That was awesome. At least you stopped me about a... Oh, yeah. Yeah, true. No worries. Yeah, I'll try restarting. So, bucket tool, mask, continuous off. Yeah, just straight up doesn't want to do anything. It says it's doing something, it just doesn't do it. That's very strange. Oh well, who cares? This was a pretty big time save already. Can't save all the time. You gotta leave yourself some busy work. But appreciate that. This helps a lot. It's gonna be kind of a pain to paint over this. You know, probably the way to do this is I make a layer here called outline. And then under this, I can reset all the individual bits. So I can get rid of the gray, maybe. Actually, no, I can't, can I? Because my fucking paint bucket tool doesn't work. It doesn't even work with continuous. There's something very weird happening. Seems to be some issue with transparency. Because what if I try to paint this other... Oh no, it's nothing. It's just broken for me. Why is that the case? Super weird. I can't even do a continuous regular color. Oh, no, it works there. Okay. Can I do this? 0. No? Yeah, it just doesn't want to do transparency. Super weird. Something I'm missing here. It has no problem doing this. Check the ink setting. Second button right of the continuous check. Oh. Alpha compositing. Copy alpha and color, maybe? Huzzah! We figured it out. And by we, I mean mostly you. So I think I'm going to make this the outline only, just because otherwise I'll have to do a lot of manual effort painting in some of these spaces. So I think I'm going to just get rid of that and yeah, just have the outlines like this. All right, we got the outlines. Same thing here with the floors. Then I'll make another layer beneath it that's like the tiles. Actually, I'm gonna do this. I am going to have just an outline, but I'm going to save a little time and do this one. This one. I can do this one. I can do actually any of them where the side faces are identical. Yeah, I could do that. And then I just go back through to just the tops. No worries. Decide how I want to structure this part of it. Probably just have these be different source IDs. No. I make have this top half one source ID and this bottom half another source ID. In which case, doesn't make a lot of sense to store it this way, but it's what I'm going to do. All right, cool. Well, we're in great shape here. This real quick, and we've got our middle halls and middle floors. Real quick, he says. Clicks 256 times. Oh, that's unfortunate. Maybe we approach this a different way. Thought I would save time doing it this way, but it looks like maybe not. Oh, we've got it. Now I just got to build out the individual 16 types here. I think I'm going to do this as 2 different sprite sheets. I'll do like the top half as 1. I mean, obviously 1 for floor, 1 for wall as well. So 4 up here, 4 down here. We'll start with that. I'll try to do that over the weekend because I got to run. But thanks, Cubus, for saving us tons of time, as always. Thanks to two nerds for hanging out. I gotta head off to work. But yeah, this weekend I'll be building a new computer, so I'll be setting everything up from scratch. So if I come back on Monday and the stream is kind of messed up, that is why. I'm rebuilding the whole environment from scratch. Yeah, I hope you all have an awesome weekend. I appreciate you hanging out here. And yeah, thank you. Let's hope I don't short anything out. And I'll see you next time. Bye.